Recorder Smith.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you.
I call to order this regular session of the Vienna City Council. Having taken roll and having a quorum, we will proceed. The first item on our agenda is our public forum. The first individual we have signed up to speak this evening is Christina Nestor.
Good evening, council members.
Ethel.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
giving me a few minutes to speak today. I'm here to raise a serious concern regarding a property located directly next to my home on 55th Street in Vienna. About 4 years ago, a family purchased the lot and began building a house. After about a year of construction, mostly digging and laying the groundwork for the basement, everything stopped. Since then, no further progress has been made. Today, that unfinished site has become more than just an eyesore. It's a real safety and health concern for our neighborhood. The excavated area is now filling with stagnant water, which could pose a risk for mosquitoes and other pests. Kids are often seen playing in the open pit, which is incredibly unsafe, especially with leftover construction equipment and debris scattered around. Trash has begun to accumulate, and worse, the retaining wall that was installed is beginning to cave in. On top of that, a large pile of dirt from the initial dig has now spilled over onto my property, encroaching beyond the boundary line. This situation isn't just frustrating, it's unfair to the surrounding homeowners who have to deal with the consequences of a project that's been abandoned mid-construction. At a minimum, I believe the owners of the property need to take responsibility. They should either resume and complete the building process in a timely manner or tear down the existing work, safely fill in the site, and restore the land to a usable state. I brought photos with me to show the current condition of the property. I hope they illustrate the urgency of the problem and how it's negatively affecting the neighborhood. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. I truly hope that action will be taken soon before someone gets hurt or before this turns into an even larger problem. And I can show you pictures that I have.
What'd you say the address is?
1307 55th Street
Thank you.
is my address. There's the part of the site. That's from the front. I was standing on the road taking a picture.
Yes.
And there's the children, the kids will come and walk along those walls and along the back retaining wall there. This is my house right here. That was done today. This is where the water is filling in. And the water here, I would say is about 5 or 6 feet deep at this point, because that's pretty deep back there.
I get the health department involved with that too if we need to.
I was working with Ken.
And thank you for bringing this to my attention. I believe the property is for sale as well. Is that
It
right?
is for sale by the PMC company.
Okay. Is it?
So I was unaware of that. I knew of the property, but had not walked back up in that area to address that, and didn't necessarily even know. I saw your first video in which you referenced the Greenmont Frog Pond, and I was racking my brain trying to figure out where there was a frog pond in the Greenmont Hills area. Then I saw your post yesterday that had to deal with a more in-depth look at that. I did meet with our code enforcement today to go over that. As you could see in the one picture you did, I had them put up some some cones and some tape. I can't close off the entire area, but at least put the cautionary there. Code is working with the company that's in the process of selling it, the homeowner, and getting those things done. And I was given assurances today that there's going to be action taken on that property within the next few weeks.
Okay.
My commitment to you is that I'll stay on top of that.
Okay.
I will follow up with both our code enforcement, and I've been in conversation just today with our legal counsel, Mr. Skogstad, about what we can do in that. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and we're going to take steps to be able to rectify and clear that situation up.
Okay.
Mr. Skogstad, did you have anything to add?
Well, I just want to let y'all know that, and just the public in general know, these things, they do take time. It's not a matter of just the city going in and doing something overnight. But because you have two property, you have two interests that you have to balance. You have to balance the property owner's interest in the sovereignty of their own property,
Right.
and you have to balance that against the public. And so you have to be very deliberate in how the steps that you take. So I guess I say that so that I'm managing expectations. This isn't something that will happen tomorrow, or it may not be cleaned, squared away for a couple of months.
Well, it's been there for years. so
Okay.
some-
Well, and how long has and this just for me, how long has that standing water been there?
It was there last summer. I think it started to collect last summer, I
And
believe.
my last question is, have y'all had any mosquito issues as a
Yeah,
result of
it
that?
started last summer. It
Okay.
was the first.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I also, sorry, I do want to make note, my husband did call city, I think he started calling last year at some point, or maybe earlier, no, I think it was last year at some point. So he has contacted them before, but nothing has been done,
But
so that's why.
I haven't spoken to you.
No, he has not spoken to you. So I
We're
appreciate your help.
going to work
Thank you.
it. Thank
very
you.
much.
Henry Sasson.
Henry Sasson, 1307 Green Mountains Drive in Vienna. I'm here to talk about the same thing Ms. Nestor's talking about. Reason being is Lauren Childers reached out to me about the same issue, and then when I was down looking at the site, I knocked on Ms. Nestor's door and we spoke. This is a construction site, so there needs to be signs, no trespassing. There are no signs, no trespassing. Unfortunately, this is not the swimming pool that I had once envisioned for Vienna. But the thing is
Be careful what you ask
no,
for, Henry.
it's about 3 or 4 feet deep in some places, so you got to watch. If
Oh,
a
wow.
kid would drown, that's not a thing to have. And then my big concern here is anybody that's familiar working with rebar. You have rebar sticking out of the ground about 4 or 5 inches. You have a kid that falls and goes like this, it's going to puncture and go right through them.
Do you know what that rebar, is it just in various
No
places?
idea,
in the
it's
ground?
down inside the ground. I don't know if it's there against the foundation for when they were planning on pouring concrete around, possibly for a sidewalk
Yeah.
or like a porch or whatever, but it's gotta come out or somebody's gotta have it signed off. Or, worst case worse is get some cans upside down with foam, put them down on top to keep a kid from falling on it. That's all I had.
All right, thank you.
Oh, one real quick.
I
It
always
may
talk to
be
Tomer.
not overnight, that something like this can be changed, but is there a way to address this through the ordinance so when someone does sign up to do a building construction, that they know that they gotta finish their development in 2 to 3 years max? If not, then the city has the right to doze it in and then put a lien against that individual's property. So something to consider.
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. Off the top of my head, municipalities are limited by the authority that's given them by the state legislature. And off the top of my head, I can't think of anything in the that has been passed that puts time limits on property construction and that would give the city the authority to do that. Now, I don't want to say there isn't, but I'm just saying my recollection is I don't know that a city would have I don't wanna commit to that. I don't know right now that a city would have authority to do that, but I'm not saying it's something that's not off the table. But there's a lot of ramifications to that too. That's not something you just wanna come in and just drop on willy-nilly.
No. This is something that's happened because, there's a family, they're splitting up and it's just lingering on. This is, the exception rather than the rule. But it's got to get addressed because like she said, it's 4 years.
It is, but it's not always good to craft rules for the exception.
Ethel Harris.
Good evening, everybody. It's so good to see you. I brought you a cookie because I thought you needed sweetened up some. So now, I'm going to mix apples and oranges. So you don't have to answer me back till I'm done with my 5 minutes because you can't interfere with my 5 minutes. So, Tony, I'm going to start with you. What are you doing about the ordinance on the buildings in Vienna that either needs torn down or fixed up and get some B&O taxes coming in from Vienna? Now, I need some answers on that. If you got anything, I'll take them when I get done. Now, the second thing, I want to know why I keep getting these cards wanting me to sign up for the warranty for the American Water. Are we eventually going to go with American Water?
No.
Well, what
No.
connection do they have other than they want us to sign up for their warranty?
I gave him your address.
Get my address.
Just
Jim,
kidding.
don't give out my address.
Ethel, it's a commercial flyer. It has nothing to do with our water system, and it never will.
Well, I keep getting them, so they must think I need the warranty pretty bad. So I'll take up a collection and I'll take it out. Now, here's what I really want to say. I know they had a planning commission the other night, and it was brought up that some of them wanted to go bring in the public forum, which I think it would be nice, like we have here, since we don't have it for the commission. But it didn't make the vote. It was 4-4. So what my situation is, or what I'm thinking is, why would the other 4 not want us to get up there and speak like we do here? I mean, maybe we could give them some good ideas once in a while. So I'm hoping they'll bring it back up, and those 4 that voted against it will vote for it, because we need our freedom of speech. And then the next thing is, what's going on down in Parkersburg. I don't want to live in Parkersburg. I'd be down there. But if these other people want to do away with our freedom of speech, like for here, which you say it's not going to happen. That's today. Tomorrow's another day. Someone could come in and say, I'm going to vote to get rid of the freedom of speech. Well, I just got to tell you all, if you do, I may be old, but I ain't crazy. And I will protest it all the way with WTAP, because I don't want to lose my freedom of speech, because I love to talk, and y'all know that. So, please do not do away with our public forum here. Don't even think about it. So, I know you guys probably think, well, why are you bringing it up? Well, because it's so much talk going around. We've got a lot of rumors going around, as some of you know. But I'm not getting into those because it's not up to me to squash them. So, that's where I'm at tonight. So, just keep our public forum here. And I pray we can get it with the commission, because, that's a good situation there. As Barbara knows, she's been on it for over 30 years. And we can always use some outside input, I'm sure. So I appreciate it. Can I have the rest of my time next week?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Tony, if you want to tell us about the ordinance that you might be working on, or if you're not.
Ethel, we're not going to discuss that at this point. We can
Because
provide
it's not on the agenda?
information to you after. during the public forum, it's not necessarily a question and answer response,
Oh, but some of the people you can't, is that right?
depending upon the circumstance. Thank you, Ethel.
So, okay, I'll get back with you.
The report of the minutes from the April 24th, 2025 minute have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Having none, the minutes will be added to the record as submitted. Next, we have the report of the treasurer.
I reviewed the reconciliation of funds dated May 2nd, 2025, and the short budget report at a high level and compared them to the previous month. The accounts are in order in the city of Vienna and paid its bills.
Are there any questions regarding to the financial report or the treasurer's report? Excuse me. Moving on to unfinished business. We have one item under unfinished business, and that is the second reading of the ordinance. Mr. Skogstad, if you would.
Me too. This is an ordinance amending Article 10502B2, open market purchases, competitive bidding purchases, increasing the amount triggering the competitive bid requirement from $17,500 to $25,000. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that it hereby amends 10502B2, open market purchases, competitive bidding purchases, increase the amount triggering the competitive bid process from $17,500 to $25,000, and for the ordinance to read as follows. For the purchase of materials, supplies, and equipment for the procurement by the city of a value more than $2,000 and less than $25,000. Hold on, I'm reading the wrong ordinance.
Yeah, that's
That's the new business
first
ordinance.
reading, yes.
My apologies. Hold on.
That's,
Can I see our agenda real quick?
That says new business. There's old business in front of the.
There
the
it is.
agenda.
Okay.
There's old
No,
business.
you're fine. Sorry. Let me try that again. This is an ordinance amending Article 10502B1, open market purchases, competitive bidding purchases, increase the amount triggering the competitive bid requirement from $17,500 to $25,000. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that it hereby amends the competitive bid triggering requirement as follows. B1, except as otherwise provided herein, all purchases of materials, supplies, and equipment for procurement by the city shall be by competitive bidding, where the estimated cost or value of such materials, supplies, or equipment exceeds the amount of $25,000. Sorry about that.
You're okay. Do I have a motion to accept the second reading of the ordinance amending Article 105.02? I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Open for discussion.
I have a few questions about this. In the actual ordinance,
Yeah.
paragraph A, it says all purchases of materials, supplies, equipment.
Can you pull your microphone a little closer?
Yes,
Thank you.
it's a constant lesson, isn't it?
I know.
It says all purchases of materials, supplies, equipment, and any contract for the procurement of services for the city of an estimated cost or value of $1,000 or less. And then it goes on. So two things, in this first part of this, A, it does talk about any contract for procurement of services. And also, because that's now $2,000, and that was changed in 2023, when they increased the amount to 17.5. Shouldn't that be 2,000?
Well, it may be. I need to go back and look at our ordinance, and I say that because Walter Drain does a great job with our ordinances. But there's a reason the online ordinances are not our official ordinances. So we have the paper ordinances that we have in minutes that we collect, and those are our official ordinances. Now, these are 99.9% of the time accurate, but over the years I've run into times where they've not been updated. And I don't. One example I can think of was we made a massive change to our zoning ordinance in 1997 that never made its way online, and so I'll need to go back and look and double check and make sure that that's, because I remember us passing and changing that, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
It was 23.
No, but it's been a while.
Oh, okay,
No, I don't remember. If you asked me when I was hired, I think it was 17 years ago, but I'm not 100% sure. But I need to go back and just make sure our ordinance reflects that. And like I said, if it's in there, it's most likely correct. Our ordinance is online, but our official record are the records that Rodney keeps, or Mr. Smith keeps. Okay.
And then in B, it changes the statement, and it says, "How provided herein, all purchases of materials, supplies, and equipment," but it doesn't include "or contracts for procurement of services." And the same thing is in this, same thing for the next ordinance, that, and then all the way throughout this same ordinance,
Yeah.
in multiple places, it also continues to say services and procurement of services.
So this ordinance was originally passed probably 40 years ago. 40 years ago. And so when we've updated it, all that I've done is update the dollar amounts. Now, there's a reason, I mean, if you guys want me to go into it, I can. There's a reason that sometimes services is left out as far as the contracts go. And part of that is you have in 105, was it 05? Professional services, for example, you have certain contracts that you can enter into, or agreements that you can enter into that are, I don't want to say personality driven, but sometimes they are. Sometimes they are skill driven, technical driven, or for whatever reason that you may not want to go with the lowest bidder. So council in the 80s, carved that out.
Right.
And
Also, that you don't even have to get bids on professional services.
That's correct. You do the same thing that we do with the other things. You can do an RFQ or request for qualifications, request for professional services, depending on what the skill set is that the person that you're wanting to acquire possesses. If you go with lawyers, you can have a lawyer who does general things like I do, but you may require somebody that has a more specific skill set, somebody that deals specifically with environmental law or massive tort litigation, like a couple of the guys that we have to the right of me. That they possess a skill set that I don't, and they have an expertise that I don't. And so, and I just use lawyers as an example. The city may be more comfortable going with somebody. You have two people that have equal skill sets, and one may charge a little less than the other. But the city is more comfortable with the reputation or the ability that a person may have, and they go with one that maybe costs a little bit more, but maybe that person has more experience in a courtroom or what have you. So you're not hamstringing yourself by forcing yourself to pick somebody based wholly on a dollar amount. And I mean, that's why the ordinance was drafted, I anticipate 40 years ago was for that. And it's all based on statute, and the legislature gives cities great latitude when it comes to drafting its own procurement statutes. Now, I'm not going back and changed it, and I noticed that the same thing that you've noticed over the years, and I figured it's worked for us for 40 years. There's no need to change it. We're only changing the dollar amounts, if that makes sense.
It does. I just, I was reading this, and it does say in here, no purchase shall be subdivided.
Yeah.
So say like if we had, I don't know, some kind of a project going on, and the materials were $24,000, but then the labor on top of that would put that over, and this doesn't mention services, as part of this thing. How does that work?
Well, generally, when you're bidding out a project, you're bidding out both the materials and the services together.
Yeah, I understand that.
Now, when you're talking about splitting up bids, what that is designed to do is to prevent something. We had a governor's wife do a couple decades ago, when she was renovating some, if I recall correctly, I'm going to leave her out of it. Here's where we're at. So the whole idea is to prevent local governments from doing exactly what could be done, which is, well, we've got a $75,000 project, but we don't want to bid it, right? Because we want to do it for nefarious reasons. I'm like, listen, Uncle Bob's got a furniture store. We're gonna buy furniture for this room, and then we're gonna buy furniture for that room, and we're gonna buy furniture for the other room, but we're not gonna buy it all at once. We're gonna buy it, over the course of 3 months. And so we're just gonna split it up. Well, we're gonna do this room and that room and the other room. And that way Uncle Bob gets all the money. Or it's just a way to, and that's one of the things it's designed to prevent. And then that way the other businesses are prevented from having a fair shot at bidding at the entire project. And generally that's what that is there for. So the Ethics Commission and the Auditor's Office, they look at those things and they say, it kind of looks like this is what you're doing. Don't do that. Or they take it a step further and they say, you can't do that. Or they take it a step further and say, you're in trouble for doing that.
So we refer to that on the federal side and even on the state side as split disbursements. You can't break up any cost on a single project, or you need $75,000 worth of paper clips and you make a $25,000 purchase here and a $25,000 purchase here and a $25,000 purchase here, because they're all paper clips, when it would have totaled $75,000. So that's referred to as a split disbursement, and you're not allowed to do that at all. And that's what this keeps you from being able to do.
And my other question on that, and I'm not trying to nitpick, I'm trying to understand, because it.
No, I don't think you're
when I read
nitpicking
it,
at all. We're just changing the numbers.
Yeah, it's like, so if we had a project, say, that was just labor, that no supplies, say someone had to repair something, the city had the supplies, they didn't have to purchase them. The way that this B1 and 2 reads, without adding in contract for procurement of services, then does that mean that person is supplying just labor would fall under this, or are they not under this?
Well, generally no. And I say that because, I guess they could be. My experience with contractors in construction is that we don't bid out projects that way, and because we generally don't bid out projects that way. I can't think of one that we have. And I don't know that they would fall under the professional services exemption anyway. And I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm trying to envision a scenario that shows a way to sneak around our competitive bidding process using the circumstances that you have. If I'm gonna build a building, the city's gonna hire a guy to design it, you're gonna have an architect and engineer. Then you're gonna hire a guy to build it, right? And that guy's gonna contract with people to actually put the bricks on the ground, right? And then they're gonna buy the bricks. As part of that, part of our cost is we're gonna buy the bricks so that they put them in the ground. I suppose you could have a scenario where you're like, well, we're able to get the bricks from this guy, and we hired this guy to put them together and make us a building. I think as long as you kept your contract was very clear that that's how it was done, and everybody was having a fair shake at it, and I suppose you could do it that way. And you might be able to, you still have, even if you're under that $25,000, you still have the obligation to get 3 prices.
Right, I'm just questioning, I'm not familiar with it, and I read it, and those things stood out to me,
No.
and that's why I'm asking.
And you're fine, and there are things in the statute under chapter 5 with the bidding and construction projects in particular that have their own requirements as far as dollar amounts and things that you can and can't do with bonding and all kinds of stuff. I don't have, the way our ordinance is drafted and the way it's been implemented for the last 40 years, I haven't really seen anything any scenario that's come up where it's been squirrely. And that's my biggest concern is we're all up here in charge of the city's money, and it's not our jobs to be squirrely, it's our jobs to be, fiscally responsible. And so, we have laws in the books all the time, people are trying 100 different ways to get around them. You can't pass a law that is perfect and envisions everything, but this one's pretty good. I don't know how to explain it to you better, or how to say it better than that.
Oh, I understand what you're saying, yeah, no problem.
Well, I figured you did.
All right, keeping that conversation. Do you have any other questions?
No.
All right. Is there any other discussion? Having no further discussion, we have a motion and a second to approve the second reading of this ordinance. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, so we're at B2 now?
Yes,
Okay.
B2.
B, what are we playing, bingo?
Yeah, we are.
I've gotten really good at that, by the way, so. Moving on to new business. This is the first reading, amending the second part of this.
Yeah.
Can I say?
Please.
And you're probably gonna say, the reason why there's two ordinances about the two different places is because the dollar amounts are in two different
Right.
places. So there may appear to be confusion there. It was confusing for me when I was putting the agenda together. Had to make sure I got the right, the numbers, but we have to have it that way.
And I'm just gonna be blunt. This is a mea culpa. When I was looking at this to amend the numbers, I forgot that there was a second paragraph there that those numbers need to be amended on. So what I should have done was this second reading that we should have had both of these paragraphs in it. Shame on me. But I'm trying to follow Mark Twain, which is if you make a mistake, own up to it real quick, then everybody will be so surprised that you did, they'll forgive you. So I just hope you forgive me.
So you've had your explanation. Do we have a motion on the floor to?
What, do you want me to read this into the record?
Oh, yeah, you can go ahead.
This is an ordinance amending Article 105-2B2, open market purchases, competitive bidding purchases, increasing the amount triggering the competitive bid requirement from $17,500 to $25,000, be ordained by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that hereby amends 105-02B2, open market purchases, competitive bidding purchases, increasing the amount triggering the competitive bid process from $17,500 to $25,000. For the ordinance to read as follows. For the purchase of materials, supplies, and equipment for the procurement by the city of a value more than $2,000 and less than $25,000, purchasing agent shall obtain and submit free prices from the open market of said materials, supplies, and equipment, unless said materials, supplies, and equipment are only obtainable from two or fewer sources. In any event, the purchasing agent shall purchase the lowest price qualifying material, supply, and/or equipment.
Do I have a motion on the floor? Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, opening it up for discussion. Having no discussion, all those in favor of passing the first ordinance reading on Article 105.02B2 signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously. The next item we have on the agenda is the bid approval for the McDonough Park restroom facility rehabilitation.
Sealed bids for the construction and refurbishment of the restrooms in McDonough Park were opened on April 24th, 2025 at 10 a.m. with the following results. Jimmy Harper Construction, $130,160. Phoenix Construction, $171,878. After careful review of the bid proposals, the recommendation for council approval from the Budget and Finance Committee for the construction and refurbishment of the restrooms in McDonough Park is for Jimmy Harper Construction at $130,160. Funding the project will be from the city's general fund line item 01-540-65-57 Parks Department pending council approval. The amount of the funding request will be for the entire project.
Do I have a motion on the floor to accept the bid approval for the McDonough Park restroom facility rehabilitation? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second and a third. Open for discussion. Go ahead.
Just for me and everybody else listening, could you kind of go through what all? I mean, I've looked at the stuff that we've got, kind of outlining the bid, but could you just walk us through what all it is they're planning on doing with the renovation, please?
So the renovation itself is going to be a complete renovation of let me make a correction, it is not the McDonough Park. It is a
McDonough Wildlife.
wildlife refuge. We'll want to get that right. So there's going to be an entire renovation of the restroom facility there at McDonough. And that is wall to wall, ceiling to ceiling, everything on the outside, drainage. It's going to be brought up to ADA compliant specs. It's going to have everything done to it that you could imagine done to it. They're going to be moving some of the facilities around on the inside, so they're going to have to do some cutting and such down into the concrete and moving drainage and various things. The heating system will be updated, the electrical system will be updated, all of the plumbing, the draining on the outside of the facility, the concrete work, the roof, the siding, everything but basically the block walls. We are rehabbing, and to my knowledge, Jack, has anything been done with that building since it's been
No,
built?
it's about 38 to 40 years old, and to my knowledge, there's never been anything done to it.
And if you have gone out there to utilize those restrooms, it's not a pleasant place to be.
It's easier to go to a tree out in the woods, actually.
It's probably cleaner to utilize the tree line than what's there. And, you know, the amount of people that utilize, especially the walking track and the trails at this facility is incredible. You know, that parking lot stays packed, and these facilities get used a lot. So I believe this is going to be a tremendous addition to our community and a resource for those individuals that utilize it. It will bring it where it needs to be in ADA compliance, and it'll be a good representation of our city, which I believe we owe our residents the very best that we can give them and provide for those services. So was there something specific? Like, I don't know what kind of toilets they're using, but that pretty
The other thing we found out too is during our meetings that all of the power that goes to the ball fields goes through that building. And
and that's part of the the expense on this. That building is the hub for all of the power at not only at McDonough, but on the other side of Rosemar Road that feeds all of the ball fields, all the lights, all of the facilities. They all come in there and are worked out of that building. However, that's, you know, I'm not an electrician, but it's very complicated. And there's a huge electric panel on the inside, and that's why we can't scrap the building and just start over, because there would probably be another $70,000 or $80,000 that was guesstimated on redoing electrical work in that facility if we had to do that. So it's a lot.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong, last year it was budgeted for, I think, $250,000 to do this renovation. There was some number that was budgeted to do the renovation.
Right, so the original look at that was like $225,000 if I'm recalling right. Then during the budget season, it was back down to $177,000. When I took office, I met with Public Works, Mr. Mathers, and our parks, and went over that. I gave them my expectations. I was really hoping to hit around the $100,000 mark, and we could have done that. Potential had, you know, increases in prices and various things not happened there. So they, when the bid came out, and you know, we were very specific about what we wanted done. We cut out some stuff that would have been pretty but not necessarily functional to be able to make this more economical to our city. They came back with the original plan with a guesstimate of what cost would be, so we kind of knew what we went into it. Then when we put the bid out, we came in at this, so I'm very happy with where we came in on that. So we're getting a good value on a good resource for our city. So I'm very happy to see that done. Any other discussion? Having no other discussion, you have seen the recommendation for the bid approval for the McDonough Wildlife Refuge restrooms and the rehabilitation of that. And the acceptance of Jimmy Harper Construction to start work on that program. Have a motion and a second. Please signify by raising your right hand. Motion passes unanimously on accepting the bid from Jimmy Harper Construction. Do we have any reports from any standing boards or committees? None? Moving on to council comments. Would anybody like to? Mr. Ditzler.
Since there's no media here, I thought this was probably a good time to mention this. We all got elected as council persons and mayor so that when somebody has a concern, they can contact us directly. And then I think we all have unlisted phone or listed phone numbers so people can call us. And I think it's important that we all understand that when somebody calls with a problem, we're, as council people, we're supposed to try to solve it. And for instance, if somebody calls about a building problem in their neighborhood, I, as a councilman, should talk to code enforcement or whoever and try to resolve it and, you know, get it done. It doesn't serve any purpose. I mean, we're not elected to come in here and speak at a public forum and tell everybody else that they should have done it. And so I think the public forum is for people to bring up issues that they want to bring up. But as council people, that's not what we do. We don't go to the public forum and bring up issues. We listen when people contact us directly, and we work within all the resources that we have that we were elected to handle, and we solve those problems. So I think it's important that we all understand why we got elected, and we're all equally responsible, and we have to do our best to solve problems and not tell everybody else they should have done it.
Any other council comments?
I have a couple. First, Ethel, thank you for being concerned about the planning commission and the public forum. The next meeting for the planning commission is 7/28 at 5:30. So, you know, come to that meeting and speak up if you would like. You know, I mean, I truly believe that public input is what it's all about. We were elected to represent people, and people have opinions, and so I value what you said very much, and I hope to see you there. Thank you. The second thing I have is an exciting thing. The senior center has hired, or will be finishing hiring, a Tai Chi instructor. And it is Chris Poe. She's certified. She's also certified as a group fitness instructor. And she's also certified as a water aerobics instructor, as well as other things. She teaches at the Health and Wellness Center. She's taught at the O'Neill Center and Belpre Center, and I think she still does do that somewhat. So the classes will start on May 27th. At this time, they will just be on Tuesday and Thursday, and they will be at 2:30, and they will be 45 minutes approximately. So anyone can come that's 55 and older. Ethel, I plan to see you there.
I'll be there.
And it's going to be great. Tai Chi is a wonderful thing for seniors. It improves just about everything, you know, including your mind, your anxiety, depression, your joint pain, flexibility, builds your core strength. And it's one of the best things the seniors can do. She also likes doing Tai Chi outside. So we will be trying to do some of that when the weather's appropriate and not too hot, you know, or not raining or whatever. So anyway, I'm really excited, and the seniors are excited, and it's going to be a great thing. Chris. Chris Poe.
Any other council comments? Going once? Going twice?
Can I just say something real? I'll be brief.
Yes.
I know, I watch the same news that everybody else does on the same, I live in Parkersburg, same news, all people in Parkersburg. But I want you to remember with our boards, the majority of our boards and commissions are volunteers, right? They're people that we've asked because they have a skill or a willingness to participate and to use their expertise and give advice to the folks that were elected. And whether there's a public forum or not, that's not my place. And if the planning commission wants to have one, they can have one. I mean, there are rules you have to abide by. And if they don't want to have one, there's nothing that says that they have to have one either. I'm not talking to that. I'm just talking about, and I'm not, Ethel, I'm not picking on you at all. But I'm just saying, I've watched the same things over the years that I've seen happen at other places. And just remember, like, all the folks up here are elected, and everybody here even if no one's getting rich off of it, they are paid. You did ask to interview, you asked for an interview, that's what an election is. You interviewed for a job. But the folks that we have on our park boards, our planning commissions, and those stuff, those are folks that the city has asked. So I know that, I hope, our meetings have gotten a lot more civil lately, and I appreciate that. And I also see the meetings how they're in Parkersburg, and they're not particularly civil right now, and I hope that changes. But just remember, for our planning commissions, our board of parks and recs, and all those folks are just volunteers. Those are like guests in your house. You can just be nice. For the folks that want to come to them, just be nice to those people. They don't have to do it, and they can stop doing it whenever they want. And we may lose somebody that has an expertise that I know I don't have on a field, course of business or whatever. So suggestions are great. Go give your suggestions, but just be nice. And that's all.
Any other comments? Having no other comments, this meeting stands adjourned. Huh? Oh, hold on, crud. This meeting is not adjourned real quick. Unadjourned for a second. I wanted Jack to provide, oh great, we're still live streaming, that's fabulous. I didn't cut it off. I wanted Jack to give us an update on the Friends of Vienna. I'm sorry, you should have waved the
That's
hand
okay. I didn't want
back
to
there.
Really, what I wanted to do was come just give you an update on the Freedom Festival and something that I just found out that seems to be really interesting, and I think will interest you all. We were allowed by the bands graciously. They said, we know it's a free festival. We're going to let you sell some tickets in the VIP area as a source of income. So that was really great for us to have that opportunity. We went online, we started selling the tickets. Now, the tickets are basically non-refundable because we pay the bands rain or shine. But what I find fascinating, since we put this up, our ticket sales, 60% of the ticket sales so far have been outside of the state of West Virginia. We've sold tickets in Springfield, Virginia. We've sold tickets in Ashland, Kentucky, Knoxville, Tennessee, Northfield, Ohio, Butler, PA, Massillon, Ohio, Alliance, Ohio, Aliquippa, PA, Lancaster, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, Johnstown, PA, Mansfield, Ohio, Shelby Township, Michigan, Pleasantville, Ohio. So it's pretty interesting for the impact that this is going to have of bringing people outside the area into our community. And really, I just wanted to share that with you because I was a little bit flabbergasted, and we're keeping track of all that. And I'll also tell you, as far as hotel motel tax, Friends of Vienna will contribute to that because we will be getting somewhere around 35 hotel rooms is what we are required to furnish by contracts. It's somewhere in that vicinity. So I thought that might be some interesting information for you to know as we go forward. We appreciate your support. And, I just want you to know that your efforts are far-reaching, really, for the community of Vienna. And what else would bring people here right now. So thank you very much. That's all I wanted to let you know.
Okay, that was the unadjourned portion of the meeting. And real quick, as she was talking about things at the senior center, Aqua Zumba is coming up. That is a class that is done at the Jackson Pool, and it's open to all ages, all adult ages. And it'll be a great time, and that's available via our city website, and we'll put out more information as well. But all right.
Keep reminding people it's a heated pool.
It's a heated pool.
That makes a big difference. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember swimming lessons when I was a little kid and getting in that cold pool.
Well, it's freezing.
It's not. All right. Adjourned, unadjourned, adjourned again.
Are you sure this time?